Sam, a middle-aged night watchman, arrives at the hospital mortuary on a stormy night for his graveyard shift. The rain lashes against the windows, and the building looms ominously in the darkness. Despite years of experience, he feels an unusual unease as he enters. Inside the sterile, cold room, Sam begins his routine inspection of the cold storage units. The flickering fluorescent lights and metallic surfaces create an oppressive atmosphere. A zipped body bag lies on a gurney at the center of the room, amplifying the sense of dread. As Sam moves through the rows of storage units, he notices subtle movement from the corner of his eye. A body bag on a gurney seems to shift slightly. At first, he dismisses it as a trick of the light, but his growing unease is confirmed when faint rustling sounds break the silence. Approaching cautiously, Sam's flashlight illuminates the bag as it starts to move more visibly. Suddenly, the zipper on the bag begins to slide open, and a decayed, pale hand emerges, twitching grotesquely. Sam stumbles back in terror, unable to tear his eyes away. Chaos erupts in the mortuary as multiple body bags unzip themselves. Decomposed corpses rise, their hollow black eyes and contorted faces frozen in silent screams. Their movements are jerky and unnatural, filling the room with a horrifying energy. Sam's flashlight beam flickers erratically, casting distorted shadows that add to the chaos. In a panic, Sam grabs a metal pipe from a nearby shelf and swings it at a window. The storm outside rages as he strikes again and again until the glass shatters. The undead figures close in, their decayed hands reaching out, but Sam manages to climb through the jagged frame, cutting himself in the process. Outside, the storm has calmed, leaving only a light drizzle. Sam stumbles away from the mortuary, bruised and bleeding. He glances back, his face pale with fear, as he notices faint movement through the cracked window, another body bag shifting inside. The building looms silently, hiding the horrors within. That night, Sam sits in his living room, clutching a cup of coffee with trembling hands. His face is pale, his breathing shallow as he tries to make sense of what he witnessed. The storm has faded, but an unnatural unease lingers in the air. As Sam lies in bed later that night, he is unable to sleep. The faint sound of whispers fills the room, growing louder. Shadows seem to shift unnaturally, and the oppressive atmosphere of the mortuary begins to seep into his home. In the hallway, an ominous shadow appears at the far end, barely visible. Sam cautiously steps toward it, his flashlight shaking as he tries to dispel the darkness. The whispers intensify, carrying a guttural edge that chills him to the bone. Back in the living room, the television screen flickers with static, and brief, distorted images of the mortuary flash across the screen. Shadows begin to bleed into the walls, and the oppressive presence of the undead seems to invade his sanctuary. Sam collapses onto the couch, clutching his head in despair. The whispers turn to guttural growls, as scratches appear on the front door, and the doorknob begins to twist. Sam stands frozen, gripping a metal pipe as he braces for whatever might come through the door. Outside, the rain has stopped, but a thick... Sam's breathing is heavy as he presses himself against the far wall of the living room. His trembling hands clutch a metal pipe, while his wide, terrified eyes remain fixed on the front door. The sound of faint scratching grows louder, claw marks slowly etching themselves into the damp wood. A low, guttural growl reverberates through the air, sending a chill down his spine. Suddenly, the doorknob creaks, twisting ever so slightly as if turned by an unseen force. The room falls silent, save for the pounding of Sam's heartbeat. The silence shatters as the door bursts open, fragments of wood flying across the room. From the shadowed threshold emerges a towering, grotesque figure, cloaked in shifting black mist. Its hollow, glowing eyes pierce through the darkness, locking onto Sam. He stumbles backward, the metal pipe slipping from his grasp. His face contorts with pure terror as he realizes the magnitude of the horror before him. The air feels heavy, oppressive, as the entity steps further into the room, its skeletal frame casting jagged, unnatural shadows on the walls. The living room is no longer recognizable. The walls ripple and melt into an abyss of darkness, while the furniture decays into broken, twisted remnants of what once was. The entity stands at the room's center, a skeletal hand extending towards Sam, its long shadow engulfing the room. Sam collapses into a corner, his hands covering his ears in a futile attempt to block out the relentless whispers that swirl around him. Tears stream down his face as he silently screams, the weight of despair consuming him. The entity looms closer, its hand reaching for him as the whispers grow deafening. In an instant, Sam's nightmarish living room dissolves, replaced by the cold, sterile mortuary. Sam lies motionless on a gurney at the room's center. The body bag beneath him begins to zip itself up, enclosing him in suffocating darkness. Around him, the corpses from the cold storage units form a perfect circle, their hollow eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The entity towers above, its skeletal hand resting on Sam's chest, as though claiming him. Sam's face is frozen in sheer terror, his eyes unblinking, his body limp. As the zipper of the body bag seals shut, a dark mist seeps from its edges, enveloping the room in silence. The mortuary returns to its ordinary state. The rows of cold storage units stand motionless, and the fluorescent lights hum faintly. In the center of the room, the gurney remains, with a clean, zipped body bag resting on top. Rain continues to streak down the small window, and everything appears calm, yet an unnerving heaviness lingers in the air. It is as if the room itself remembers the horror that unfolded just moments before. The mortuary lies quiet once more. A young woman enters, her crisp uniform pristine, and her expression a mix of curiosity and unease. Her footsteps echo softly as she approaches the gurney at the center of the room. The body bag atop it seems ordinary at first glance, but then it ripples faintly, as if something stirs inside. Shadows along the walls twist unnaturally, their movements defying the light. The woman hesitates, her gaze locked on the bag, unaware of the faint, chilling whispers that begin to fill the air.